All right, howdy Twitch, howdy YouTube. How we doing today, everybody? Welcome to the show. My name is Jimmy Moreland, voice actor, audiobook narrator, and music producer, and welcome to the stream where we do live auditions on the biggest voiceover casting websites, voices.com, voice123.com, and then we will head over to ACX and do some audiobook auditions, if there are any for us. If you like what you hear, hit us a like, hit us a subscribe, do all the crap you know what to do there. If you like what you hear and you want to pay me some money to read some words for your business or product or service, then you can head to the website. Link is in the description. Veteran Audio. It's a really simple website, veteranaudio.com. You'll find my email and how to get in touch with me there, and you can pay me money to read words. We're going to do some fun stuff today. So we've got our normal auditions that we're going to do. One of the auditions that we're going to do today is an FX audition. It's very rare that you want to submit an audition that has anything but the lightest, most transparent layer of EQ or compression or whatever. You don't want to send stuff that's like really heavily compressed that already sounds like it's sort of radio ready. You actually don't want to do that. But sometimes you get an audition that calls for, a monster voice or the voice of, Satan or something like that. And there, my approach to those jobs is to send a heavily processed voice file, audio, so that they know like what your monster voice is going to sound like. Just hearing this voice read the lines of, Satan or whatever, maybe that's great if it's sort of a satire type piece, but if they actually want something that sounds like the devil is like haunting or possessing something, then you're going to want to do something to make it sound like that. So today we actually have an audition. I peeked in the feed, and we've got an audition. We're going to be doing that, and we're going to get to that one really shortly. In fact, we might jump right into it. But first, let's look at the feed and see what is available. We've got voices.com up here. We always start with Voices because Voices is the time-sensitive platform here. So let's look at this first one. First of all, you love to see this tag right here, worked together previously. I get a little badge that sort of sets these clients apart, and on the client end, they see a little badge when I submit an audition. They see another badge, similar, that sets me apart from the other talent. So this is great. This is like, unless there's a really good reason not to, I'm always going to submit auditions if I've got that worked together previously note there. So really simple. Now, looking at this copy, don't wait till it's too late. Call BLU before you see red. Because of the context in this line, I'm going to assume that I'm going to say blue. Just because it's juxtaposed with red there. So that makes sense there. So we're going to read it like that. And we're going to just see how this sounds. Turn that on so that we can hear. All right, let's read it a couple times. We'll give them at least 2 takes. So let's go for it here. Don't wait till it's too late. Call blue before you see red. Don't wait till it's too late. Call blue before you see red. Don't wait till it's too late. Call blue before you see red. Don't wait till it's too late. Call blue before you see red. Let's give him a really smiley one. Don't wait till it's too late. Call blue before you see red. Don't wait till it's too late. Call blue before you see red. Let's give a really detached read. Don't wait till it's too late. Call blue before you see red. Let's get that second line better on the detached. Don't wait till it's too late. Don't wait till it's too late. Call blue before you see red. Call blue before you see red. One of those will be fine. If you're going to give more than one take, give them some variety. Give them some options, because if you give 2 takes and they're really similar, what they're going to think is not like, oh, I appreciate the nuance, the tiny fine details between the 2 takes. What they're going to think is, oh, this person has no range. They think that these takes are really different, and so I can't get anything outside of the 2 takes. There's no range outside there. Where if you give them something, 2 takes that are wildly different, their brain is going to go like, oh, wow, they gave us the really smiley upbeat read and they gave us the super low tone, low key detached read. Their brain goes, they can do anything in between. At least that's the theory. So we're going to grab the super upbeat, high key, high energy read. Wait, call blue before you see red. Let's give them a really, maybe it's this one. Don't wait till it's too late. Call blue before you see red. Okay, there's the upbeat one, and then the last read for the low energy read. Let's see here, where is that one? What is happening here? Too late. Call blue. Right. Let's take a look here. Before you see red. Don't wait till it's too late. Call blue before you see red. And maybe this is it. Let's put in our spacers here. Hello, here we go. Paste those in. Maybe make this a little longer. Before you see red. Don't wait till it's too late. Call blue before you see red. That's good enough. We're going to hit our automatic crossfades. We're going to turn on RX. Bounce that out. This is blue. Call blue. Sure, we're going to call it that. Do that. Respond to job. And I should make a template for people that we've worked together previously. Instead, I just go like, I say something like, hello again. And then I also, anytime I give more than one take, I make a note. I've given you 2 takes. There. That simple. Put in our quote and give them the audio. Easy peasy. Next up, we have our FX job. This is going to be really fun. And we're going to be, I haven't cheated this. I don't have like an effects stack ready to go. We're going to be doing some experimentation and getting our troll voice just right here live on the stream. This is another client that we've worked together previously. I've done 7 jobs for this client before. They do short little video games. They're really fun. The characters are like, they're well developed, even though they're small roles. It's really fun to do these. And this job description is really simple and straightforward. We're reading for 2 different characters, which is really common. You'll find that very frequently in video games and in animation. They can't hire 50 different voice actors for these like tiny little small roles. And so they'll often hire a handful of voice actors who each will do a handful of roles. And that's what we're doing here. We're doing the narrator voice and the troll voice. So we can jump right into the narrator voice, and then we'll do something a little different for the troll voice. And you'll see how I handle that, because we're going to have to get a little bit creative as far as the logistics of handling things within Pro Tools. But first, we're going to see what that email ding was and see if it's a different voiceover job that requires our immediate attention. And it's not. It's a Voice123 job, and Voice123 jobs are not urgent. Voices.com jobs are urgent. So we're going to go back here and we'll read the narrator line, and then we'll try to decide if we want to make some decisions on the troll lines. So let's go ahead. The reign of the cruel King Ilion has come to an end. Love triumphed over evil, and peaceful times have returned to the land. The reign of the cruel King Ilion has come to an end. Love triumphed over evil, and peaceful times have returned to the land. Happy with that? Let's go right into the troll. Wait, let me explain. I mean no harm. Thank you. I'm glad there are still people out there who are willing to listen. You'll notice I didn't put on a troll voice. I just read it sort of normal. And in fact, I put a little bit more not breath, but I just made sure there was plenty of high frequency tone. There was lots of tone in my voice, so that later when I start messing with effects, that those effects have something to latch onto, something to work with. If I had given them some kind of troll read, then those effects wouldn't have had much to work with. So we're going to do, so here's the logistical issue. We've got our narrator here. The reign of the cruel King Ilion has come to an end. Love triumphed over evil, and peaceful times have returned to the land. We're going to call that good enough. Now, how do I apply effects to just this part of the read and not this part of the read? How do we do that? You could get crazy with automation, basically saying, okay, after this 9-second mark, turn all these effects on, so that way you could still have everything all on one track. We're not going to mess with that. We're going to use a second track. We're going to briefly switch over to slip mode, and we're just going to drag that down to this next track. That's it. Really, really simple, very straightforward. No reason to overcomplicate things. And also, because in Pro Tools, it's really easy to put things into loop mode. I think the hotkey is the number 5. No, it's the number 4 on your number pad key. So you can see up here at the top, my play button is going from a play button to a play with the loop mode thing around it. So since I have this little clip here selected, it's going to start playing from the beginning, and then when it reaches the end, it's going to loop back and endlessly play on repeat. And for when you're messing around with effects, trying to dial in something as simple as EQ and compression, or something as crazy as what we're about to be doing, it's really useful to be able to put your stuff into loop mode. Now, a bit off screen here, I'll briefly drag it over so you can see what I'm about to do. So this track here, I've got it soloed, so I know which track it is, but I can go ahead and hit play, and you'll see the meters dancing here. Maybe. Wait, let me explain. So it's track, this voice duplicate 18 here. I'm going to go into the inserts. That's how we put in effects. And we're going to start. How we're going to start? We want a troll voice. And I think the biggest thing that makes something sort of monsterish is a simple pitch changer. So we're going to, if we can, we're going to do this with stock plugins, because I don't want people to feel like, oh, like if I want to be as good as Jimmy, laugh. If I want to do it just like that, then I have to spend a bunch of money on plugins. I have built up my plugin library over years and years of doing mostly music production stuff. So yes, I have the Native Instruments complete package that I spent like $1,000 on. Yes, I've got the Waves whatever bundle. Yes, I've got like all this crazy stuff, but you don't need all that. You can do 99% of what anyone else is doing out there, you can do with stock plugins. In fact, there is like a monster sort of FX plugin package that I've seen demos of, and it's really, really cool, and it's lightweight enough that you can use it sort of live, and you can monitor and sort of change things and have it inform your performance live. But that thing's expensive, and I think it's only subscription. Enough with the subscriptions, people. Like, just let me buy your product. I don't want to subscribe to stuff. I just don't. That is just the woes of modern life here. Let's actually check this email. Do we have? It's a Voice123, so it's not urgent. Okay, back to over here. What insert are we going to put on here? So I want pitch shift for sure. So looking in here, we've got a Waves one. Obviously, we're not going to touch that one. That's an auto-tune plugin anyway, and it's an old one that I don't use anymore for tuning stuff. And I know just from my using stuff that I actually like the stock Pro Tools Pitch 2. This actually does a really good job, and we're not going to go nuts and drop it 2 octaves. We won't even be able to hear that. We're going to start by dropping it like maybe a 4th, which, because I'm a music theory dork, I know that's 5 semitones. You don't have to know music theory to do all this. Right now, I'm going to move this out of the way just so we can see what is playing, what's happening. Let's just hit space. Let's play and see what this sounds like with the pitch dropped 5 semitones.
Wait, let me explain. I mean no harm. Thank you. I'm glad there are still...
So, that's a bit much. It's a bit much. We're going to bump it up 1 semitone, and I feel like maybe this needs a little bit... What does this need? We can change the mix. So this is how much... Are we hearing only the dropped pitch? Because in this case, we are dropping. You can also shift things up if you want the chipmunk sound. Do you want to hear only the pitch that it's been dropped to, or do you want to hear a mix of the two? So we're actually gonna try an 80% mix here because we want a little bit of that chorus sound, that sound of multiple things coming together at the same time. And so let's hear what this sounds like dropped only 4 semitones and with a little bit of the original signal mixed in there.
Wait, let me explain. I mean no harm.
That might be a bit much on the mix there, so we're going to drop it to a 90% wet mix.
Wait, let me explain. I mean no harm. Thank you. I'm glad there are still people out there who are willing to listen. Wait.
Interesting. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about that. I do want to. I feel like this needs something a little bit more. If this was the voice of a demon or something like that, we would go nuts with like reverb and maybe even like a little delay or even a pre-delay if we really wanted to spend a lot of time on the production. That sort of reversed reverb that is then reversed again. It's a whole production technique. Maybe someday, if I ever see another like demon or Satan type voice, maybe we'll do that sort of a little tech demo on how to get that effect. But for now, let's try throwing on a chorus. I'll go ahead and bring this over here again so you can see my decision process for the chorus. And the chorus should be in modulation, I believe. Interesting. What is this sci-fi thing? This is the part where we get to play a little bit. So this is a stock plugin. I can tell by the way it is. This is a stock plugin, and this one has a lot of stuff on there. It's got a ring modulator. It's got some other stuff that frankly are not going to be very useful for voice. But if you're trying to play around, this one has no presets actually loaded into it, so we can't do any playing around like that. I doubt this is going to be useful, but we'll take a listen.
Wait, let me explain. I mean no harm. Thank you. I'm glad there are still people.
This would be useful if, the plugin is called sci-fi. If you are doing like a really, destroyed, degraded, like AI computer voice, like if you wanted something to sound like that, ring modulator, bit crushing, that's where you want to be for something like that. What's Enigma? What is this? So this is a Waves plugin, I can tell by the way it is. Also, we've got the little Waves icon up here in the corner. Waves plugins usually have, here we go. So this looks like it is more of, it's got flange built in and it's got reverb. So it's flange and reverb. It's probably not something that we're going to want. But let's just for fun, let's hear what it sounds like with the flangelizer put on it.
Wait, let me explain. I mean no harm.
See, it's way too much. This video game, just really quick, just from a quick analysis of the characters, this is pretty straight high fantasy. This is, just look at this copy. The reign of the cruel King Ilion has come to an end. Love triumphed over evil, and peaceful times have returned to the land. There's nothing here that gives us an indication of anything beyond like a straight high fantasy. There's no indication that there's any science fiction type elements coming into play. Maybe there's a basic magic system. You've got what many would consider to be a magical creature, but we don't actually know the properties of trolls in this world. It could just be an ugly monster and they're calling it a troll, or it could have that sort of regenerative type properties or whatever. But we're just going to assume that this is more or less, it follows the basic archetype of a troll. And when you're doing an audition, you want to deliver something that feels right for the part here. So we actually might. We'll keep looking just a little bit to see if we can find something that might fit what they're looking for. I'm not going to even check out the lo-fi plugin. This is another stock plugin in Pro Tools, and it is great because it's got a bit crusher built into it. So if you want that sort of chiptune, degraded, digital signal type of vibe, then it's great for that. I was hoping to find like just a simple, let's try the doubler. This is a Waves plugin, but I'm hoping to get a simple chorus type effect. let's just try a couple of these. But this looks like more like it's a delay and a sound field thing. Let's just try a couple of these presets.
Wait, let me...
Nope. That's sort of like a dream sequence type sound.
Wait, let me explain. I mean...
You get a sense of the sounds that we're getting here. We're not going to use any of these. Let's just listen to what we've got right now again and just decide, is this right?
Wait, let me explain. I mean no harm. Thank you. I'm glad there are still people out there who are willing to listen. Wait, let me explain. I mean no...
We're going to chill with that. We've got a little bit of the chorus effect because we set the effects mix to 90%. So 10% of that audio coming through is our original audio, not affected at all. 90% of it is that audio that's been dropped down. And I'm actually happy with that. We're going to throw on that. And so the way that we have to output this, because we want the sound, obviously they're going to hear our narrator voice first, as it is in the script, turned to the land.
Wait, let me explain. I mean...
Very good. So we're going to basically grab all of this and all of this. Now make sure you've got both tracks soloed so that it's actually going to output both of those. I have everything running through basically a master channel, so I know that my my light compression and EQ are going to apply to everything that goes out. So here I can just export, and we're going to call this RR21 narrator and troll. There we go. Oh, wait, you know what? Oops, I did not put on my RX there. Very important that we get that on there. So let's just do that again. And I know that when I'm overwriting something, I have to press enter 4 times instead of 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. You will learn the peculiarities of your particular setup when certain things happen. Again, because this is a client I've worked with before, I'm going to say hello again. And I'm going to put a special note. Most people make a hiring or just a general no decision or a short list or a maybe decision. They'll usually make that decision within the first 3 seconds. I specifically want them to hear my troll voice because we put in some effort into it. I think that they're likely to listen to my entire audition anyway because we've worked together previously. Like, if they've hired me 7 times, what's to keep them from hiring me an 8th? But I really want them to listen to this troll audio because I want them to be able to go like, oh, this audio is ready to go. We're not going to have to apply effects to a voice. This thing's ready to go. So let's see here. I had some fun with the troll audio with FX. We'll capitalize on the troll voice. I hope you like it. Sure. And again, we've been working with this client long enough that we've developed a rapport, so I can be a little bit less formal in the way that we communicate. Send that off. Let's see here. Do we have any new? This is spam. Very good to get that. We've got another Voice123 job. So Voice123 is hopping today. Now, let's take a look at the rest of these jobs. So we don't have to do anything special with as far as clearing out the stuff that we've just done. We don't need to like disengage the pitch shift thing. It's not bothering us. We're just going to ignore it. Because it's not like it's on a bus where it's applying to multiple tracks or to new tracks that we create. It's just chilling. We're good to go. All right, next up we have to, we're going to double check something real quick, make sure that the stream is good. All right, Sound of the Sound gave us a chat and it didn't show up on our little monitor here, unfortunately. So Sound of the Sound, if you're still here, I'm so sorry I missed your chat message, but we'll reload here and see if we see it. Can I do any impressions? Sound of the Sound asks. I used to play a lot, and if you talk to any voice actor, anyone like that, it's really I gotta check to see if YouTube is still streaming as well. No, we're still good to go. My tablet's just acting up. If you talk to any voice actor or anyone like that, play is an important element of sort of keeping your skills up to snuff. And for things like accents, like you really do have to spend a lot of time playing. And I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, but being single is great for playing. Being single and living alone, you've got no worry about like, oh, are people going to hear me and laugh at me? Or like, am I going to, weird my partner out by like practicing my, Bill Clinton impression? Like, it's very, it's a lot harder to play. It really is. If you don't have a very sort of playful relationship or whatever it is. It's not to say that you can't have both. But basically, I've been in long-term relationships since I was 23 years old. So basically for the last 15 years, I've never been single for very long at all. So I've basically always had someone around for the last 15 years or so. And some of those play muscles in myself, I know, have atrophied a little bit. And that's a bit of a bummer, especially, with these last couple of years that I've been doing this job. I'm having to sort of recultivate and wake those muscles up. So I like to think that I'm getting better. I'm getting more comfortable at trying new things. It does help that I've got this sound booth out here and I'm able to be loud and make silly voices and not be not disturb anybody or feel that I'm disturbing anybody. So can I do any impressions? Yes, I can do quite a few. Some of them are pretty dated. So I do a Bill Clinton impression, and that is pretty fun. Not a lot are coming to. I do a lot of musical impressions. So if I've got a guitar in my hands, there are a handful of singers that I can do, and that used to be part of my act was to do impressions. I think it's kind of natural, especially in the music space. If you're singing a song by a certain artist, it's kind of natural to your brain wants to emulate that sound. So when I do Johnny Cash, like that, the big Johnny, like the shape of my face even changes a little bit. And I think that's key for good impressions. Is that like it's not just your voice, your vocal folds do the thing. Like your entire face and even your whole body needs to sort of get into it. So when I'm doing Johnny Cash, my whole mouth kind of shifts a little bit to the side of my face because he had that jaw surgery, and that's why he had that sort of divot in the side of his face, and that caused everything to kind of drift over to the side. And he always kind of had a little bit of a squint, a smirk to him. And that just helps me embody the persona, the role of Johnny Cash, if you will. So play, I think is super important. We're gonna post a test message, and we're gonna see if it shows up on my tablet. And if it doesn't, then we're gonna have to do perhaps a little bit of a refresh on the tablet to make sure I can see chat when it comes in, because it's a bummer that I didn't see Sound of the Sounds chat when it first came in. Hey, sound. Hey. Let's see if it shows up on my tablet. I'll give it a second, and it is not showing up. That is a huge bummer. Okay, so we're briefly going to have to do some... Okay, now we've got it. And we can see that, oh man, I missed Sound of the Sounds chat by like 15 minutes. That's a bummer. I'm sorry, my guy. I'm so sorry. But now I've got things to where now I can see it. I can see my own test message that just went out. Let's see if I can clear that. Let's go clear chat. Okay. So again, so sorry that I missed your chat, but we should see them from now on. Let's get back to work. Rowan. How do you say this? Does anyone know? Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh the old YouTube app here as well, because It seems like it is. Is that going to work? Okay. YouTube is also acting up. Man, everything's acting up. Maybe it's my tablet. Who knows? No, I don't want the YouTube Sunday ticket. I've never met anyone who has paid for like YouTube Red. Does anyone else? If you've signed up for that, I would love to hear from you. Like what your experience is with it, and if it's worth it. Like for me, I just keep my anti-pop-up plugins updated. There was great wailings and gnashing of teeth a couple of months ago about like, oh, they're updating Google Chrome to kill all your pop-up blockers. And like, I get it. Like Google's got a business model and they're trying to protect it because they own YouTube and they don't want your pop-up blockers to function properly on YouTube. But it seems like the folks there who are the uBlock Origin people, I think is the current one that actually works. They seem to the arms race continues, and they seem to be winning because I don't see ads on YouTube when I'm on my PC. On my phone, obviously, and on TV and stuff, yeah, I see them. But with this job, with what we do as voice actors, you occasionally you want to see the ads. You want to hear the ads because you want to know, all right, what are the current trends in the industry? What kind of reads are popular? What kind of reads are falling out of favor? You don't hear the COVID read as much anymore. In these unprecedented times, you don't hear that so much anymore. What you're hearing is, the continued march towards super casual conversational. You're starting to hear this detached read, this like I don't care style read, and it's not specifically a Gen Z millennial read. It's just this vibe. It's this swagger of like you don't care. And so myself as voice talent, sort of seeing this detached read become more and more popular, I've been working on that read, and that's what you got to do. In fact, maybe sometime soon I'll produce a detached read demo, and we'll try to do at least a portion of that process live on the stream. And at the end of the stream, hopefully, you'll be able to hear the new demo. That could be pretty fun. Let's take a look here at this project, though. 38 people in line in front of us, probably a lot more now since we've been yapping. Let's go ahead and reload and just see how much. 2 more people in line. So 40 in line ahead of us for a $400 budget. That's actually not. I would still consider this. Let's take a look at the project, though, and see if we want to do it. Narrator, genuine, articulate, sure. Standard, this looks like industrial. There are several things I particularly like about OEC 3D C-arm. The main thing is its versatility. To switch between 2D and 3D imaging, you just click once on the 3D menu of the C-arm control panel. The second point is its ease of use. Okay, so this is very much like real person, just sort of like walking through why they like this software. Let's give it a shot. There are several things I particularly like about OEC 3D C-arm. The main thing is its versatility. To switch between two... The keyboard made some noise there. There are several things I particularly like about OEC 3D C-arm. The main thing is its versatility. To switch between 2D and 3D imaging, you just click once on the 3D menu of the C-arm control panel. The second point is its ease of use. We were looking for a solution that would allow easy maneuverability around the patient and for any nurse to intuitively be able to move the C-arm. Cool. We cold read the second half of that, and I feel like I nailed it. I don't think I need to give that another reread, and we're not even going to listen back to it. We're going to hit our automatic crossfades, turn on RX, bounce this out, and this is Rowan. I don't know how you say that. Thankfully, we didn't have to say that in thankfully we didn't have to say that in the copy and like do research. So we're going to say that. Here we go. 400. Select. Send it off. Come on. There we go. Sent. All right. Here we go. Next. Okay. Here we go. I'm pretty sure. Yep. I recognize this client. Best of luck, but I'm only an 80% match, and the budget is super low. So we're going to pass on that. Marketing video, there's 54 responses, and the budget is one of the lower buckets here. We're going to pass on this one. This is the life. 80% match, 59 people in line ahead of us for a better budget, and it's a Texas event. Voice of God, VOG means voice of God, which means this is going to be a one-time, likely, live event, and before we even scroll down, the script will likely say, if it's a really restricted, in fact, it looks like it is, it's only 150 words, so the script will probably be something like, "Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is ready to begin." And that might be all they want. You might also introduce, whoever the MC is, or, the keynote speaker, something like that. Like, "Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our keynote speaker, President so-and-so," whatever it is. Let's take a look. Welcome to the Austin premiere of Hitman. The screening will begin shortly. Please take your seats. So, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We guessed pretty closely what we're going to hear here. So slightly deeper voice with a bit of a Texas accent. So I would bet that, I know in Austin, they do there's a film festival in Austin. And obviously, yeah, Austin's right there. So I don't know if this is at a film festival or this is just where they're premiering it in Texas. Not sure, but we're going to go ahead and do this. Yeah, there's a lot of people in front of us in line, and yeah, we're not a great voice match percent, but this is fun. I like doing the voice of God type things, and anytime I get to put on the accent of my homeland, it makes me feel good. Welcome to the Austin premiere of Hitman. The screening will begin shortly. Please take your seats. Welcome to the Austin premiere of Hitman. The screening will begin shortly. Please take your seats. Welcome to the Austin premiere of Hitman. The screening will begin shortly. Please take your seats. The second one I feel is probably the best one. Let's listen. Welcome to the Austin premiere of Hitman. The screening will begin shortly. Please take your seats. Welcome to the Austin premiere of Hitman. The screening will be... We're going to keep just the second one. No point in giving them two takes when they're similar enough, and I don't think that the last take really added anything special, so we're just giving them the one read. Austin, Hitman, VOG. Yeah, don't waste their time by giving them takes that aren't going to help. I thought I had a Texas native, and I always make a note there. Anything that requires a Texas accent, I want to make sure that there's a note that, like, hey, what you hear is real. Like, I can live my whole life in this accent. This is not something that I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't even say I'm putting it on. I'm code switching. This is a way that I can absolutely live my life and talk like. So why did they do this twice? I wonder why they did this twice. Welcome to the Austin. So I guess, okay, I'm going to just submit the same thing twice. I'm curious if maybe this one, they changed some of the tags so that they could like hit a bigger range of voice talent. I'm not sure. Who knows? Maybe one they're planning. I couldn't say. Very strange. It happens sometimes when things get double posted. But we're not going to worry about it. Let's see here. Grab all this. Let's make ourselves some room here. Hide all that. And then we're going to duplicate this one 11 times. Now we're back on here and we're ready to record again. And that is everything on voices.com. We're going to keep monitoring our email, our little email plugin that gives us a little beep and a visual notification when we got a new email. We'll monitor that for new voices.com jobs. Going to sneeze, hold on. Okay, maybe not. Tried to force it, and it didn't happen. That's all right. Let's go over to Voice123, hit reload real quick. And one thing we're going to do quickly, our friends over at Voice123 have asked us to obscure the names of the innocent, i.e. the clients. Voice123 has a sort of anonymization feature that clients can use so that their first and last name does not show up when they post a job. And we're just making sure that we're clicking through each one of these jobs that are available to make sure that none of these clients will be showing their full first and last name. Because our friends at Voice123 asked us to do that, so we want to make sure that we make them happy. Okay, everyone is anonymized, so we are good to go. Now, the first thing we want to do, we've got 15 auditions that have come in. Voice123 has been very active, especially in the last hour or two here. And to make this big audition queue a little bit more manageable, just sort of for our own mental health, we're going to go through and eliminate the obvious no's. And the first thing that we usually do is eliminate anywhere where they've already received more proposals than they've asked for. So for example, right here, they have requested 50 proposals and they've already received 81. And I can see why. It's a $1,000 budget. That totally makes sense that they've gotten a lot of interest from talent. So we're going to say no, because it's extremely unlikely that we're even going to be heard. So why waste our own time and get our hopes up here? Likewise here, 54 out of 50, nope. 52 out of 50, nope. 29 out of 25, nope. 67 out of 50, nope. 29 out of 25, nope. So we're already down to 9. So just eliminating the ones that are sort of overcrowded already, we've got ourselves to a manageable 9. We know that we're going to pass on this. TTS, text to speech. You are giving your voice away for someone to train an AI voice model. This is the worst thing you could possibly do as a voice talent, no matter what the budget is, looking for a quote. Like, my quote for this, and I'm not joking, my quote for anyone to train an AI on my voice is $1 million minimum. And that's $1 million out the door, actual money in my pocket. So if it's on voices.com, that means 1.2 million or 1.25, however the math works out to where in my pocket is $1 million. Because I'm going to need to take that money and set up an annuity that pays me residuals based on its growth, because I will never be able to work again, basically. If I do a single AI job, I'm just going to assume that I will never work again. Because once someone has your voice legally as an AI voice, they can make you say anything. They can make you say anything. They can sell your voice to any kind of client who can make your voice say anything they want. So let alone that's a horrible business decision. Like, God knows what people might be able to hear you saying. What a hellish nightmare that is. I know I complain about TTS and AI almost every day on the stream, but it does bear repeating. This is absolutely the worst thing that you can do for your career. It's horrible. This looking for a quote, I shudder to think what these 4 people quoted. Because if it doesn't have 7 digits, they're ruining themselves. It's just, what a disaster. Okay, all that said, someone reviewed a proposal. That is useless information. My friends at Voice123, if you're watching, please let us opt out of the reviewed emails. Please. It does me no good. It doesn't let me know. There's no action I can take based on that email. All it does is maybe give me a little bit of either false hope or anxiety. False hope that, like, maybe they reviewed my proposal. Maybe this means within the next couple of minutes, I'm then going to get the other email that says you've been booked. But more likely, I'm going to feel the anxiety of like, okay, they reviewed it, and I'm not seeing the follow-up email. Does that mean, okay, they're not going to hire me? Okay, did they like my proposal at all? Am I about to drop in the algorithm? Like, those emails are less than helpful, less than neutral. They're not even neutral. They are negative in my opinion. So please let us opt out of those emails. At least give us the option, because as I've been able to search, I have not been able to find an option to opt out of those emails. So please give us that option. Okay, let's start at the bottom here. Trump voiceover. Are we doing an impression? They're just looking for someone who just, I guess, has a Trump accent or impression. That's not me. I haven't put in the work to do a Trump voiceover, and I don't want to get into politics necessarily on this stream, but part of why I haven't worked up a Trump voiceover is that kind of play and study/play would require me watching a lot of and like closely listening to it, and I can't. I can't bring myself to sit and listen to that voice, for the hours that would be required to really start to nail the voice. So we're going to pass on that. Okay. Debbie Dowser, Utah Fire Sense Radio. So are you looking for a male? Okay. What are we? Male, 30 plus, deep, rich voice, able to mimic spoken word style of Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. Now, I know the song. I know the voice that they're looking for. This is very funny. And I love that this very specific. We're going to bring it up, and we're only going to play a couple seconds of it so that I don't get a strike on Twitch and or YouTube. So let's see here. Number of the Beast. This is hilarious. And in fact, we're going to briefly take the audio off stream, and I'm going to make sure that I'm grabbing just the section that I want to grab here. So the audio's off stream now, I hope. Okay, I'll bring it on now.
For the devil sends the beast with wrath, because he knows the time is short.
So it's also very similar in vibe to the Vincent Price voiceover that is in the song Thriller. So if you're familiar with that, these are very old references, I understand. Any of my, if there's any Gen Z watching this, which I would be surprised to discover, but if there are any younger folks watching, then both of those tracks, absolute bangers. Number of the Beast and Thriller, different vibes for sure, but both bangers in their own right. So they want a very dramatic sort of horror type of delivery. A hero lies within, sent to prevent the relentless marching of untamed flames and inferno, looking to... Very silly, dramatic, over the top. There's already 14 people in line ahead of us. You know what? Because this might actually be a spot where we do a bit of put the alarm emoji. We've got a voices.com job here. Soar 30-second this is voices.com job, so we need to be quick. There's already one person who's got it in. We want to get in there. Anthem video for a new campaign should sound professional, empowering, but also human and authentic. Soar to new heights. Invest in the country and join a thriving hub of entrepreneurship and economic development. Okay, interesting. Don't really get a sense of what the hell this is about, but we're going to read it. Okay. This is a placeholder. They're going to introduce something else here. Either the name of a country or a county seems more likely, or maybe it is a country. We're doing a commercial for a country. Okay. We might end up regretting this, but let's do it. Professional, empowering, also human and authentic. All right. Soar to new heights. Invest in the country and join a thriving hub of entrepreneurship and economic development. Soar to new heights. Invest in the country and join a thriving hub of entrepreneurship and economic development. With a secure environment, stable currency, and strategic location, the country is a growing destination for businesses of every size. U.S. investors and business owners can tap into incentives such as tax exemptions. U.S. investors and business owners can tap into incentives such as tax exemptions, 100% foreign ownership in many sectors, and simplified government relations. 100% foreign ownerships in 100% foreign ownership in many sectors and simplified government relations. Oh, and simplified government regulations. Almost said the wrong word. Okay, so we didn't do punch and roll, unfortunately. Okay. All right. So we deleted that breath, not because we delete breaths willy-nilly. Humans breathe and keep the breaths. We're doing it for pacing. Actually, this is a spot where we're going to have to do... Where's this edit point? Is it here? Yep, that's the edit point. Let's close that up. A little bit more of a gap. We're going to make that cut not at the breath, but at the word and. That easy. Hit our automatic crossfades, turn on RX, bounce, soar. All right, there we go. Reply to job. Hit this. It's okay. We've got live directed session. That's all good to go. 390. Select the file. Here we go. And as soon as it uploads, we hit send, and we are 10th in line. You see how fast that queue builds up. We were pretty fast on certainly, receiving the audition, being aware, perceiving the audition. We were pretty fast for doing the audition. We didn't spend 10 minutes doing script interpretation. We just jumped right in. Basically a cold read for most of it. Yeah, it took a few takes to get some of those lines because we were stumbling over our words, but that's just who we are, and that's okay. But we got through it. The edit was fast. Obviously our export and delivery, we've got that part of the job down super fast. So we feel pretty good about that. But that's all to say. We were still 10th in line. As fast as we were, 9 other people were faster. Now, a couple of those people are going to be people who are doing the huge mega no-no of submitting generic demos instead of a custom audition. And it's the dumbest thing ever. I would love to know if they have ever been hired. I don't understand it. Every casting agent I've ever talked to, any person who I've heard an interview with from Voices or Voice123, they've all said that that's number one pet peeve of their clients, of the hiring clients, and with their view into the back end of their websites, statistically, it's like the least viable strategy for success that you can have. Being first with a custom audition is very important. You want to be very, very early with a custom audition. Being extra early, being first with a demo response doesn't help you. You might as well be last. You're not going to get picked if you submit a demo. Don't do it. It's dumb. Okay. So back to our previous train of thought here with this fire safety type spot here. They want the voice in the style of Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden, and it's this very dramatic, low just almost Vincent Price style delivery. And this might be a spot where we actually deliver audio with a heavy effects stack on it. Our second one today, if we decide to do it. And basically we would pull this up, we would listen and be like, okay, what's actually happening here? And we would kind of try to mimic exactly the production that's happening there. Immediately I'm hearing lots of reverb. That's basically the main thing that I'm hearing. Lots of reverb. So this is one of the rare cases that we might actually put some crazy effects on our voice, just so that the client doesn't have to use their imagination. They can hear directly and go like, oh, wow, yeah, that does sound perfect. That's what you want people to think when they hear your voice. Yes, that does sound perfect. But let's, first, we're going to read it dry without any of those effects. So we're going to see if this feels good. If it doesn't end up feeling good, then we're not going to go through all the other steps. For the sake of inspiration, we're going to listen to another couple of seconds here of Number of the Beast.
Let him who hath understanding reckon.
Okay. It's so dramatic. I love it. Let him who... All right, let's go. This is going to be silly, but we're playing. This is fun. A hero lies within. A hero lies within. Ice drops. This product right here, Ice Drops, is a lifesaver for mouth noise, for general sort of, if you've been behind on your hydration a little bit, these will bridge the gap. And they're tasty. I've got a big box full of these. It's lasted me over a year so far, and I've got another 2 years worth. Easy gift idea. If you've got a voice actor in your life, or if you are a voice actor and you're curious about, people, what do I buy for you? I don't know what to buy for you. Find the Ice Drops, the big box of like 50 or 100, however many are in them. It's not that expensive. You can find it on Amazon. Tell them, hey, here it is. This is the present that you should get for me. And it's a good thing to have in the booth for sure. All right. A hero lies within, sent to prevent the relentless marching of untamed flames and inferno looking to descend upon Utah in the form of wildfire. Emerging from the cocoon of your very own common fire sense, you are the hero spoken of old. The hero of ages, capable of preventing wildfire. You can become Debbie Dowser. We're not going to read the tagline for them. This is a spot where we actually are going to do the one thing that we're going to do here that will sort of really set this apart and be fun. We live in Maine. We're up in mid-coast Maine. And I don't usually get allergies. I'm just very lucky in that regard. But today is like supposedly like a record pollen count day. And so I think that is enough to where, I'm all kinds of itchy, and that's all right. So we're going to first, we're going to hit play on this. And while it's playing, I'm going to pick a reverb, and we're going to start messing around with reverbs here. A hero lies within, sent to prevent the relentless marching of untamed flames and inferno looking to descend upon Utah in the form of wildfire. Emerging from the cocoon of your very own common fire sense, you are the... So we're going to... Oh, geez. It's monitoring. Okay. Not monitoring anymore. So we're going to... Usually reverb, especially in the music world, reverb is used as a send effect, not as an insert effect. But we're just trying to get this done, down and dirty. We don't want to spend time creating auxiliary buses and all of this. Nah. We're just going to mess with this. Let's see here. Let's just pick a preset. We're not going to mess around with too much stuff here. Listening to this Number of the Beast, large church is kind of a good place to go. But we also want it to be a bit bright. and some of these large church things can be a bit dark. High frequency cut is 2.4. That actually seems like it's probably fine. But we're also going to bring this mix down, way down on the dry side. And let's listen to what that sounds like.
A hero lies within, sent to prevent the relentless marching of untamed flames and inferno looking to descend upon Utah in the form of wildfire.
Okay, so I think that this reverb sounds fine. In fact, we might back it off just another couple percent there. So we talked about we're going to do some automation here. And not every DAW can do this. I would imagine most of the more professional DAWs, so like even, I would imagine Reaper, Twisted Wave, Studio One, those are sort of the cheaper but still professional and perfectly good enough for voiceover. I would imagine those can do automation. If not, you would do what we did earlier in the day and just pop that little section onto a different track and have just that track affected by what we're going to do next. And that is here in the script here. The word echoes. They want the word wildfire to echo. So we're going to get a little silly with automation here. But first, let's make sure that that our read is constructed how we want it to be constructed here.
Of old. The hero.
Obviously, that's way too long of a gap.
Hero spoken of old. The hero of age.
Even that's a bit long.
Of old. The hero of ages, capable of preventing.
Even that's a bit long. Come on.
Old. The hero of ages, capable of preventing wildfire.
And then at the end here.
You can become.
Actually, we're going to leave that for now. Maybe not, actually.
You can become Debbie Dowser.
Okay. Very silly, very dramatic. Here's the word wildfire.
Wildfire.
This is the part that we want to echo. Now, how are we going to do that? Well, simple. We're first going to grab, I'm doing this off screen, but I'll show you what I'm grabbing here. Again, this is going to be which one? I think this one is the one we want. This is, again, a stock plugin. I haven't paid any extra for this. This is what comes with Pro Tools. You'll have something similar that comes with whatever DAW that you're using, so long as it's above the level of Audacity. But all this does is it echoes, it repeats. That's what, in the music and audio production space, anytime something echoes or repeats, you don't call that echo. Like, oh, put some more echo on my voice. The engineer is going to go, oh, this guy. But if you say, can you throw some delay on my voice? They'll go, this person knows what they're talking about. So delay is the tool that we're using here. And right now we want something that we're just going to throw this on the whole track, and we're going to start messing with some parameters until we find something that just sort of sounds like a convincing or just an appropriate echo.
Spoken of old, the hero of ages, capable of preventing wildfire. You can become.
Where is our echo? Come on now. Maybe we got some silly going on here. Let's just grab the echo preset. Let's go.
Capable of preventing wildfire.
Okay, so this delay parameter here is how quickly the delays, how quickly the echoes happen. So we want them to be a little quicker than that.
Wildfire.
Okay. Let's put there we go.
Wildfire.
So.
Fire.
So there's an issue here. Either we have to make the delay so long that the entire word wildfire, that duration, in fact, we can select it here and see that duration of the whole word is 1.3 seconds. It takes 1.3 seconds for us to say the entire word wildfire. So that means our delay, if we want to be able to hear the entire word, our delay needs to be at least 1.3 seconds. Let's hear that.
Wildfire.
And I feel like that's way too long. It doesn't sound like an echo like they're wanting here. So we've got to make a choice. We can grab part of the word we can. The problem is if you pick anything shorter than the length of this word, you're going to be stepping on yourself, and that will ruin the intelligibility of this section. I mean, just listen.
Wildfire.
In context, you can't tell what the hell's being said. It starts to all muddy up and blend over itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick part of the word and only apply this delay to part of the word. So let's listen here.
Fire.
The problem with doing the wild is because if you only put the delay on the word wild, you're going to hear wildfire, wild. That makes no sense. That's silly. So we're going to grab just the fire part. So it's going to go wildfire, fire. So we want a faster delay than what we've got currently. So let's try something closer to 500 milliseconds. Let's try this.
Fire.
Little too fast, little slower.
Fire. You.
I think that's pretty good.
Fire.
Briefly, let's increase this gap here so that we can play.
Fire.
That's pretty good. Now, we don't need it to echo 100 times or whatever. So the feedback, FBK here. So the delay is how long between each repetition. The feedback is basically how many times is it going to repeat. And if you set this to 100%, then it will never stop. It'll keep repeating forever until it starts to build, and eventually you need a new set of headphones. So we're going to, by default, with this preset that we picked, the feedback I think was 34%. We're going to bring that down to, say, 20%. And then listen.
Fire.
I think that's fine. I think that sounds good. We'll go ahead and bring the dry to wet up a little bit here.
Fire.
We're going to be...
Fire.
We're going to do something here. We're going to create an edit point right here. On Pro Tools, it's Control-E. That's how we've been making all of our cuts. It'll be different for whatever DAW that you are in. And we're going to boost the gain of just this clip here, because we want this delay to have a lot to work with, give it a little bit more meat to work with. So let's hear if this sounds totally silly in context.
Fire.
That sounds fine to me. Now we need to automate. And in Pro Tools, the way you automate, up here in this little window, there's the auto section. We're going to click the little window under it. And basically what we want on here is the master bypass. Basically, it's just an on-off switch. Is this effect on or is it off? We're going to add it here. Okay. Now we can close that and get rid of it. Now in Pro Tools, okay, good. How do I actually do some automating here? We have to go here. Let's make this window a little bit smaller here. So here's our track. Here's the wildfire. There's this little arrow here. Show/hide automation lanes. And when you click that, by default, it just gives you a volume to where you can automate the volume level. Click the little drop down, and there it is. There's our effect, our mod delay, and here's the master bypass that we just picked. So we click that, and right now, because the last time we left that plugin, we'll bring it back up here, the bypass is not on. The bypass is off.
Fire.
So we can hear that delay happening. We want the bypass to be on until we get to the word wildfire, and specifically the syllable fire. So we're going to hold Control to create an automation point. We create 2. Oh, it's being silly. Good old Pro Tools. Basically, we want this thing to be bypassed for the entire track. So we've dragged that control point. And if you click, you can see it says on. I'm sure this is very tiny on the screen. Load up your 8K mega display and zoom in, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about here. But if we zoom in back here, we can just see right here where our edit point is. Boom. Here's our automation change to where the bypass is off. It seems counterintuitive because, okay, everything over here is on, but that means the bypass is on. Then we want the bypass off for the duration of our echo, and we'll start right here. Basically, we don't want the echo to keep happening once we start talking again. We don't want this stuff to echo. So we're going to put the bypass on here, but let's listen to this in context. So we'll start at the previous line, and we'll just see what this sounds like. And you'll actually be able to see, so here's our delay. You'll see this little bypass button here. It'll change when we hit this this little window where the bypass switches from on to off and then on again. So let's hear.
Capable of preventing wildfire. You can...
So we can dramatically shorten this this silence here. We just made it that long to give us a little bit of room to make our decisions about this delay. Let's listen again.
Wildfire. You can become...
So I feel like that's, we're gonna make this so close, maybe like right here.
Preventing wildfire. You can become Debbie Dowser.
And I'm gonna say that's it. We're done. We're gonna back off the reverb one more tick. Just one more tick. I feel like it's a little bit aggressive. So right now it's at 10%. We're gonna back it off to 8%. And let's just hear that again.
Capable of preventing wildfire.
Let's split the difference. Let's bring it back up to 9%.
Capable of preventing wildfire. You can become Debbie Dowser.
Okay. We're gonna call that good enough. We're gonna hit our automatic crossfades. We're gonna turn on RX, and we're gonna bounce this out. Debbie Dowser. There we go. Accept the invite. Grab the audio. And we're going to make a note like, hey, I've gone a little nuts with the effects, which you may or may not be into. I obviously am happy to deliver totally raw audio if you've got your own team of audio people who want to do their own thing with it. So I'll make a note that says like, this was a lot of fun. And we did have fun. And like, if you're not having fun while you're doing this, then you need to consider another career. This was a lot of fun. I knew exactly the voice you were referencing with the Iron Maiden link. Can we please... I'm used to typing the word main. That's why maiden. I gave you audio with FX to match the Iron Maiden sound, but of course I'm happy to give you the raw audio if you'd prefer that. And then we'll just let the rest of my standard response fly there, and we're going to submit. There we go. So that's 2 auditions today with heavy, weird, silly effects. And one of them we did by doing the 2-track approach, having effects on just one of those tracks and then just rendering out that entire thing. And then one, we did the FX automation approach. There's multiple ways to solve problems in the audio world. Let's see if any of these emails are voices.com auditions, and we've got a couple. Let's quickly jump in. Audition must fit within 15-second time limit. Okay. We're going to see what this looks like. Sometimes you get clients making requests that are frankly not human. And I can tell you right now, this is not going to fit within 15 seconds. But I'm going to read it as fast as I can, and then we'll see what we have to do to make it fit. Americans chase their dreams, but student debt is holding them back. President Biden's plans help over... President President Biden's plan helps over 30 million with student debt, already saving Americans $146 billion, increasing Pell Grants, holding colleges accountable. Learn more. So we read that really, really quick. Let's do the edit and see where we land. And maybe it is going to be okay. Let's take a look. But student debt is holding them back. President Biden's plans help over... Nope. Student debt is holding them back. President Biden's plan helps over 30 million with student debt, already saving Americans $146 billion, increasing Pell Grants. Actually, you know what? This will come right in. So we're not going to be so dramatic. We're going to delete all of that. We're going to give ourselves a little bit more room to read this to where we don't sound like, we're trying to beat the clock. We are going to read it fast because this is a lot of copy to fit in, but it's not Micro Machine Man. It's a very old reference. If you get it, you get it. So let's do this more appropriately. Americans chase their dreams, but student debt is holding them back. President Biden's plan helps over 30 million with student debt, already saving Americans $146 billion, increasing Pell Grants, holding colleges accountable. Learn more. Okay, I think that felt really good. I think that felt more like the read that they're looking for. Let's listen. Americans chase their dreams, but student debt is holding them back. I want to get this opening line right. Americans chase their dreams, but student debt is holding them back. That feels better. This is a very, very quick problem solution read here. Got a funny little gap there. Let's see. Dreams, but student debt is holding them back. President Biden's plan helps over 30 million with student debt, already saving Americans $146 billion, increasing Pell Grants, holding colleges accountable. Okay, this is a case where we're going to delete a breath for time and pacing. $146 billion, increasing Pell Grants, holding colleges accountable. Learn more. So they say audition must fit within the 15-second time limit. So in order for us to make up some of this time, I'm going to dramatically shorten my opening line of my opening bit of silence there. And then I'm going to shorten this gap. Don't like to do it, but we're going to hear how it sounds. Dreams, but student debt is holding them back. President Biden's plan helps over 30 million with student debt, already saving Americans $104. We could probably save a little bit of time by eliminating this breath. When you're on a time crunch, some of these are the kinds of tough decisions you have to make. 30 million with student debt, already saving Americans $146 billion, increasing Pell Grants, holding colleges accountable. Learn more. There we go. And we're going to shorten this to where we give them, boom, exactly 15 seconds. Hit our crossfades. Make the RX active. F54 chase. I don't know what this naming convention is, but we're going to reply. General 390. Here's the file. 22 people in line ahead of us. That's okay. We were a 100% voice match. We got to hope that some of those people are a lower voice match. They haven't done the work like we have to make sure that we've got a good voice match. Already, another one. We are going to be the first to see this. Candida auris IPC. Auris, probably auris. Professional or scholarly tone. Experience pronouncing medical terms is a plus. Oh, here we go. Old medical narration. If selected, there will be about 10 more of these projects to come in the next week or two. We would love to get that. Let's take a look. C. auris, another multi-drug resistant organism. Okay, let's go for it. Candida auris is a yeast that can cause... Candida auris is a yeast. What is it? Candida auris is a yeast that can cause life-threatening infections in patients with serious medical problems. It is dangerous because it can be resistant to antifungal medications, and it can spread rapidly in healthcare settings. To minimize... Let's go ahead and do punch and roll. It can spread rapidly in healthcare settings. To minimize the spread of C. auris and other multi-drug resistant organisms, it can spread rapidly in healthcare settings. I feel like we're still in rush mode from that last read, so we're gonna take a deep breath, and we're gonna go again. And I bet we're gonna stumble less because we're giving this an appropriate. There's no time restriction. We're gonna read this. Candida auris is a yeast that can cause life-threatening infections in patients with serious medical problems. It is dangerous because it can be resistant to antifungal medications, and it can spread rapidly in healthcare settings. To minimize the spread of C. auris and other multi-drug resistant organisms in healthcare facilities, follow standard precautions, including cleaning your hands before and after every patient contact. Protect your clothing and skin from contamination by wearing a gown and gloves. And look at that. We slowed down a bit, and I feel like we got a better read out of it, and we didn't make a single stumble that requires an edit. So not only did our read, I think, lead to a better outcome, but it also made our edit faster. Candida auris IPC. IPC in the medical narration space is a specific term that has a specific function, and it's like a legal requirement. And I can't remember what it stands for. Important something something. It's like a public disclosure type of thing. In some cases, this might be something different. I could be totally talking out of my ass here. We're first. We're absolutely first. 0 responses ahead of us in line. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. We'll see if we get it. Medical narration is a trip. I've worked with coaches who do a lot of medical narration. Mike Hathcote is one of them. Excellent coach and very talented voice actor in his own right. And he does a lot of medical narration. And I've seen little clips of him just slaying this really dense medical narration copy. And it's really impressive to witness that. Here are all of our emails. We can archive all of those. Looks like this is also for that same other client. Let's go ahead and really quickly arm and submit for this. This is another one that has to fit within, again, a 15-second time limit. But we're going to be deliberate about our pace, but not feel like we're rushed. But we'll see if we need to alter that. Big oil companies made record profits, charging us record prices. The Biden administration is fighting back, cracking down on price gouging and big oil's tax subsidies, investing in clean energy alternatives, and lowering costs for families. Learn more. Okay, let's see how that edits. Big oil companies made record profits, charging us record prices. The Biden administration is fighting back, cracking down on price gouging and big oil's tax subsidies, investing in clean energy alternatives, and lowering costs for families. Learn more. Okay, you can see we're already at 16 seconds. We got to see if we can squeeze out that last second here, and there's only a couple places we can do it. We're shortening these gaps. We're going to have to get rid of this breath. Put a little bit of silence there. This can obviously be shortened a fair amount. We're still about a quarter of a second long. Let's listen. Big oil companies made record profits, charging us record prices. The Biden administration is fighting back, cracking down on price gouging and big oil's tax subsidies, investing in clean energy alternatives, and lowering costs for families. Learn more. Okay. We're going to do the whole thing again because we're too far. We're too far away from the right duration for the read, and I don't want to time stretch. Often you'll hear this if you hear a commercial that has any kind of legal disclaimer at the end, like a description of the horrible symptoms that this medication is going to give you, or what have you. A lot of times that will be sped up in post. I'm of the opinion that legal disclaimers, you should not be allowed to do that. Like if a human can't read it, then how can you expect a human to hear it and process it? Like the disclaimer, that's the most important part. That's all the stuff that could go wrong with your health or your investment or your legal situation. Like all of those, like the disclaimer is very important. And so doing like nasty tricks like bringing the volume of the disclaimer down while you bring the background music up, that seems like a dirty trick to me. And then using post-production tricks to compress the time, the duration of the disclaimer, to where sometimes you can like you can't process that, you can't follow it. So I think if your product or service requires a legal disclaimer, the music should cut out, the voice should be loud and upfront, and it should be read by a human. So maybe speed readers get more work, because that is a very specialized voiceover skill. Not a skill that I have at all. But that's my opinion. If I were king, that would be not a day one change, but maybe like a day 3. Legal disclaimers must be read by humans without music underneath. Let it be so. Let's read this thing. Big oil companies made record profits, charging us record prices. The Biden administration is fighting back, cracking down on price gouging and big oil's tax subsidies, investing in clean energy alternatives and lowering costs for families. Learn more. Okay. I purposely put big, huge breaths in these spaces so that I had like really obvious edit points. This breath here might give me a problem, though, because I did it so close to the end of that word. But we're going to see. I can already see I'm coming in well under 15 seconds. Let's make sure I didn't cut off part of one of these lines. Big oil companies made record profits, charging us record prices. The Biden administration is fighting back, cracking down on price gouging and big oil's tax subsidies, investing in... Let's make this gap a little longer. Price gouging and big oil's tax subsidies, investing in clean energy alternatives. Yeah, we're not going to try to bring that breath in. And big oil's tax subsidies, investing in clean energy alternatives and lowering costs for families. Learn more. We're going to leave it just like that. We're showing them that I can get this read in a way that I feel is natural, punchy, and effective. F54 record. And we're going to give them enough space in the final read that they will have the opportunity to do a musical stinger at the front or the end. You know, having a little bit of wiggle room in your deliverable obviously is very nice. Who doesn't want that? Show me the editor who doesn't want a little bit of wiggle room there. They can lengthen those gaps if they feel like there needs to be an implied breath or pause here or there. They can do that. That's their job, not ours. We've gotten 2 new jobs on Voice123. We're gonna go full screen on the camera so that we can double check to make sure we're not going to reveal any clients' first and last names, and we're not, so we're good to go back in this mode here. And let's keep going through here and start figuring out if we want to do these jobs. All right. Male dog voiceover. Just a normal male voiceover for the dog. Looking for goofy accents, old, young, excited, low voice to represent each animal. So there's a bunch of different animals here. Problem is, they're looking for a quote. And we have no idea. It just says paid media. Okay, what kind of paid media? Is this a national television campaign? Or is it just like a local radio spot? Because the pay scale for those are crazy different. It's 6 months of usage, so okay, we know that, but we don't know anything else about the usage, so it is impossible for us to quote this appropriately. So I don't want to submit an audition that the client might love, but maybe my quote is way out of whack with their expectations, and therefore I don't get shortlisted. So suddenly I'm getting dinged in the algorithm because I quoted based on incomplete information supplied by the client. I really, really wish that Voice123 would force clients to at least put a bucket, allow them to put a range. Because right now, as far as I'm concerned, this range is from $250 to $25,000. That is the actual realistic range depending on the usage. That's enough said. We're going to decline. That's just a huge nitpick that I have with Voice123 about it's not client education, because they're giving the clients the option to just go, oh, just give me a quote. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the clients because, maybe I'm perfect for one of those dog voices. Maybe I am, but I'm not going to even submit an audition for fear of getting dinged by the algorithm because they don't like my quote and therefore I don't get shortlisted. There's a lot of misalignment of incentives that are going on Voice123, and I really think that just a few tweaks, a few changes could really improve the experience for clients and talent alike. Moving on. Okay, vehicle rental and services, doesn't matter the job, we have the equipment, doesn't matter the size of the job, we are ready, Okay, cool, sort of standard. This seems nice and straightforward. For some reason I see a lot of Canadian jobs come over on Voice123, and I'm just making sure. I mean, the payment is USD, but that doesn't preclude it from being a Canadian company by any means. This seems nice and straightforward. It's the kind of copy that is very much in our wheelhouse. So let's go ahead and do it. It doesn't matter the type of job. It doesn't matter the type of job. We have the equipment. It doesn't matter the type of job. We have the equipment. It doesn't matter the size of the job. We are ready. It doesn't matter the time of the job. We are available. We are AP Enterprises, and one call does it all. All right. I'm going to say that's good enough. We're not even going to listen back to it. We're going to make our edits here. We are going to... I'm quite confident that RX would handle that tiny little mouth noise there, but we're here. We've got a mouse. We can make a couple clicks. Why not? All right. Bounce this out. We're going to call this AP Enterprises. AP Enterprises. Enter. Accept the invite. We're going to be number 16 in line on this one. Not so bad. We need to make sure that we reset our response, because they don't need to be hearing about Iron Maiden in my response there. So on Voice123, in that little response window, it would be really nice on Voice123 if you had a little drop down that says, hey, I want you to use this response from my saved templates or whatever. On voices.com, you've got that. It's a little drop down. You just pick the one you want. But on Voice123, you don't. So what you'll want to do is have like a text document on your desktop that when it's time to put in a response, you can open that text document, select the response that you want, and quickly copy and paste that in. By default, it just includes the last response. So if you use the same response every time, then you're fine. I like to sometimes personalize it just a little bit more towards the actual the job posting. But then I have to remember the job after that to unpersonalize it so that client's not like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Okay, an ad for a Broadway show. I know right off the bat I'm probably not the voice for this, but let's keep looking here. Union radio commercial. So I'm curious if so I don't know a ton about the union. Payment will be based on union contract and usage. So as someone who is not union talent, I know that there are like, oh, you can, if you're non-union, you can do X amount of union jobs before you become a must join. And there's all of these things that come into play. I have yet to do any of these union qualifying jobs, I think they might be called. Suffice it to say that, A, I'm obviously not the person to ask about union stuff. I don't really know much about it because it hasn't come up in my career yet. When it comes time, I will find my preferred union representative, and I will talk to them and sort of figure out what's going to work best for my career. Suffice it to say that for right now, just generally a Broadway music in general type of promo spot. I'm probably not the right voice, and it's about Louis Armstrong. They don't want my voice. My voice is not the correct voice for this, so we're going to pass on this one. But sounds like a really cool gig, and potentially a way to start working your way towards union eligibility, and that's pretty cool for whoever gets that job. Breezy. We are producing a humorous spec ad for Breezy. A spec ad, spec meaning speculative. That means like, hey, we haven't been hired to produce anything by Breezy in this case. But we're going to create an ad as though we have been hired, and we're going to just approach the company and go like, hey, we made this ad for your company. You want to just buy it and it's yours? It can also be something that you do for your own portfolio. Many folks out there may have things in your voiceover demos that are, you could sort of consider them mini spec ads for certain brands that your voice would perhaps be a great fit for. Maybe you, like if you've got the gritty read, then maybe you've got little mini spec ads for Ford or Home Depot or your local DIY center. And so maybe that sort of exists for a portfolio or a real purpose. But this seems like perhaps it's more of the intent to sell the ad. And so there's lots of reasons to do spec ad and spec work type stuff. And so we don't know. Let's see here. The brand was birthed from the YouTube channel Bob Does Sports, and we're needing a voiceover that sounds like its founder, Robbie Berger, Bobby Fairways. Think subtle New York or Jersey accent, but not too noticeable. So I don't know this YouTube channel, but I do know that my New York/New Jersey accent, it's not great. I haven't worked on it very much. It is an accent that I should work on more, especially now that I live in New England. But I don't have a great New York or New Jersey accent, so we're going to pass on it because we don't feel like this is right for us. But it looks like a fun job with a decent budget, so Coastal Alabama Thrive campaign. Conversational, masculine, honest, trustworthy type sound, and can add the proper energy, drama, emphasis, intensity to these scripts. Okay, for a community college in South Alabama. So I'm curious if they're looking for a white voice. I've spent some time in Alabama, and obviously it varies community by community, but I'd be curious if they really do want a white voice for this. You've started this journey by yourself, but you don't have to go alone because, well, I will say, why are they looking for it seems like they would want a young voice, male young adult, that is listed here. I'm just not getting a strong sense that I'm the perfect voice for this. If this was on voices.com, sure, I'd fire off an audition and not think twice about it. But this is a case where on Voice123, you live and die by the algorithm, and so I'm hesitant enough that I'm going to sort of listen to that gut reaction of going like, I don't know. So we're going to pass. Also, they're looking for a quote. Looking for a quote means generally I'm going to pass because I don't know enough. Purpose of the recording, film and TV, paid media, yes. Duration of usage, no information. So I don't know. They may elect to run one of the ads on local TV in Mobile, Alabama for a short run, but that has not been decided at this time. Well, then I can't decide what to quote. You can't You can't do this. I need to know the information so that I can appropriately quote this. It just really upsets me that this client can be wishy-washy. What if I quote them, a lower rate? What if I quote them $200? And then the end client has decided to run a local TV ad. Like, well, we've already got this agreement. It's digitally signed. Like, we've got this agreement. Maybe money has already exchanged hands and we have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. Are we going to trust that this client's going to go like, oh, hey, voice talent, we owe you more money. We just wanted to reach out. Like, they're not going to do that. Maybe if you have an agent or a manager who's really good at staying on top of these things, maybe they'll, be able to suss that out. But I wouldn't count on it. And so, like, we need the information. We need it to be in the agreement when the agreement is agreed to. Otherwise, we're setting ourselves up to get screwed. So I hate that. I do not like seeing that pop up on the website here. Moving on. Nonprofit bed and breakfast announcement. Okay. Video will be shown live at a thing. They've got a fixed budget. Cool. It's like a one-time showing. Okay. Rest, balance, change of perspective. The Iris Respite House and Healing Gardens at Hope Grows is a bed and breakfast unlike any other, an oasis of solitude for family caregivers and those who are grieving. Maybe this might be appropriate. I'm not getting a strong sense that we're really, really well suited for this. Looking for a peaceful, serene tone to match the vibe of the location. Here, they're not sure what they want. Like, they're sure about the vibe, sure, but we would love to see the client be more sure about the talent that they're looking for. Male, young adult to senior, female, young adult to senior. Like, you should have an idea of the age range and gender of the talent that you're looking for. Like, you really should. That gives us enough pause that we're going to pass on that one. Because just think about, just broadly speaking, these voices.com and Voice123 you are competing against other voice talent. Generally, this industry is very collaborative and like people are helpful. Like these, the nicest people that you'll ever meet are in this industry for sure. But you are competing in a friendly way on these websites, and when you have to sort of have that extra consideration when the voice, gender, and age is open to everybody, that's that much more competition that you've got. And you're competing not just, one-to-one with these other talent. You're competing with this unknown picture of the perfect voice that this client has in their head. And the less information they give you about how to narrow it down, the less you know about whether you're an appropriate fit or not. Moving on. Energetic, almost in a Casey Kasem. Isn't it Kasem? Rock Top 40 style. The show is rock and roll themed and needed to feel like a throwback radio ad. So this could be sort of right up my alley. Like, I used to do radio when I was in the service. But doing this read, it's actually really hard on the voice. I've got a bunch of audiobook work to do later in the day, and I'm just not feeling jazzed about it. So what's the point of doing this if you're not jazzed about what you're doing? This one, because we've been yakking for so long, this one actually went over their requested amount of proposals, so we're going to pass on it. Oh well. Next, Awake America 2024. So, leading the way. I'm okay. We'll look at the copy. Okay, that's what I thought. So, it's important. One of the mantras for this channel are voice actor, voice talent, know thyself and be authentic to yourself in the auditions and that you take and the jobs that you take. I'm not a religious person, and so me taking this job and reading something that is very overtly and thoroughly, to its core, a religious product, service, or whatever, would not be authentic to myself, and it wouldn't be fair to the client because they're very likely they would prefer, I'm sure, to hire someone who aligns with them as far as their worldview and so forth. So, in the interest of being authentic to ourselves, we're going to pass on that one. Let's refresh this to make sure we're not missing anything. We've got everything on voices.com, and Voice123 has been submitted. Let's head over to ACX and see if there's anything waiting for us there. Let's refresh the page. I want to go ahead and maximize this so that we can see what's going on. Once again, ACX is doing work on their website, and right now the filters, some of them continuously work and some of them break every time you revisit the website. And one of those is the gender checkbox. It's always broken. So we've got 2 books that we haven't seen before. One I can see right here, they're looking for British accent. So we're not even going to look at it. Next, Rescuing Freedom, a suspenseful, twisty thriller novel. That's pretty well right in our wheelhouse for the kinds of books that we read. Says right here at the beginning, I'm requesting narrators who team as male and female. I'm not looking for a woman who can do male voices or a man who can do female voices. This is a very bad idea on the rights holder's part. This is a bad idea. You shouldn't do this. The amount of extra work on whoever's producing this is going to be immense. And I'm hoping that whoever takes this job quotes that accordingly. Dual narration is one thing. When it's like a chapter by chapter changing, not a ton of extra work. The audiobook that we're working on right now is a dual narration, and there's not a lot of extra work for me as the producer. What they're wanting is anytime within the chapters, anytime that a female character says something, they want the female narrator to voice that. And anytime the male character, we don't know if the main narrator, I'm looking for there are 2 main male characters and 2 female main characters. I need to hear a sample of all, which is why I've submitted the reading for a sample demo. Yeah, this is such a bad idea. So the thing is that Audible, ACX, Amazon, at the end of the day, Amazon has the research. They've got the data, and they show that more than 90% of audiobooks available on the Audible platform are solo narration. One person reading the entire thing front to back. And they've shown that isn't just like it's just because logistically it's simple, but because that's actually the listener preference. If you think so, Scott Brick, probably the biggest superstar in the world of audiobook narration. Look him up, and there's a chance that even if you don't know the name, there's a chance that if you're an avid audiobook listener, you've probably listened to a book narrated by Scott Brick. Biggest superstar in the industry, and yet there are people who hate his voice. There are some people for whom the Scott Brick narration is a deal killer. They will refund the audiobook and they just can't listen to it. Why open yourself up to the potential? You pick one narrator, and if people like it, they know right away, do I like this narrator? But if you've got dual or multicast narration going on, then you're doubling your chances. You're increasing your chances with each new voice that comes into the production. You're increasing your chances that one of those voices will be enough of a turnoff to your listener that they're going to refund the book. That's just the basic economics argument there, that every new narrator that comes into the production has a chance of turning off listeners, Or maybe they suffer through it, but then your entire production gets a lower star review because of the one narrator, because you just had to have that multicast narration. There's that. And there's, again, the amount of work that will be required for like basically line by line cutting in. It would be one thing if this was an old school project where like both narrators are going to go into the studio. Hey, I'm going to book out the entirety of this week, Monday through Friday. We're going to go into the studio for 8 hours a day, and we're going to narrate side by side in the booth together. And maybe there's also a director and an engineer. Suddenly that's 4 people that you're paying good money to produce this audiobook. And so you're probably paying, I would just ballpark that at $1,000 per finished hour for that kind of production. But that doesn't keep into account the post-production. So call it $1,250. Call it $1,250 an hour for per finished hour. We'll call it, just to keep things a little bit easy. That is the kind of budget you need to have, because the amount of work, it's not like, oh, some work got easier when COVID happened and everyone got their home studios built and they were able to work remotely. So certain kinds of work got easier and certain kinds of work got cheaper, because suddenly now you're not having to pay an engineer and a director, because me as the voice talent, I'm doing all of those jobs at the same time. I'm directing myself and I'm engineering myself. I'm editing myself. I'm doing all of it. So you're just paying one person. And so there are major savings because of the way the economy works there. But this is one spot where it doesn't work that way, because if I'm producing, if it wasn't recorded at the same time in the room, suddenly there's no obvious, like, you can't just visibly like line it up and go, okay, like I can just look at the waveforms, and when track 2, the female narrator is obviously reading because I can look at the waveforms, then I just need to cut out the audio on track 1 and vice versa. So what you'll end up is what looks like, we call it the checkerboard. So like, yeah, it sort of bounces back and forth between track 1 and track 2 if they're trading back and forth lines. But if you haven't read them at the same time in the same room like you would in an old school in-person production, then someone is going to have to manually, like they're going to have the script up over here. They're going to have these 2 tracks, and they're going to have to be like manually piecing this thing together. And they're going to have to listen multiple times to each transition to make sure that there's a natural feeling pause from line to line. The amount of time that's going to take, oh my God. I can't imagine taking a job like that on. And I think if I were to quote it, so the author that I'm working with this current production on, it's dual narration, but it's chapter by chapter, so it's really no extra work. But if he came back to me and said, hey, for the next book, I want it to be like line by line, dual narration, I would probably just quadruple my rate. I think that would be the easiest and least hassle way for me to get across to that author. It will take quadruple the effort. It really will. And for very little benefit for the end listener. Like when I'm listening to an audiobook, if I hear a male voice narrated by a female or vice versa, it doesn't bother me. I'm being told a story. And if I'm telling you a story about what happened in my day, like, oh, I went to the grocery store and like this thing happened and this lady talked to me. Hold on. I need to call someone who can voice this lady real quick for you. Otherwise, you won't understand this story that I'm telling you. Like that's not how storytelling works. We understand that when the lady in the checkout line said, "Are you sure you don't need a bag? It seems like a lot to carry out to the parking lot just in your arms. You'll look like a crazy person." I didn't do much to my voice there. I just changed it subtly, and you get by context that, yes, this is the woman in the checkout line talking to me. Best of luck to this rights holder. Best of luck, and even more luck to whoever takes this job, because you're in for a rude awakening if this is your first time doing this and you think, oh, maybe I've done regular dual narration, chapter by chapter dual narration. This will be just like that. No problem. Oh boy. That's going to be a disaster. I'm not saying they won't do a good job. I'm saying it's going to be so much more work than they expected. And even at the high end of this range, never. $400 per finished hour to do that level of truly intense edit work? No way. Good luck. Really wish you the best, but I really wish that you would just like trust the professionals out here who are saying like, no, that you need to have a really compelling reason to do it. And it's a thriller novel. Like what is so special or unique or interesting that you can really justify that? I don't know. If you've got the wallet to justify it, yeah, I would produce this book for $1,000 per finished hour. Sure. Yep, you bet. Hire me. But no. Oh man. We had a full stream today. This was good. We had a couple of auditions that had effects. We rarely do that. That's another thing that, like, unless you've got a really good reason to do it, but we did have a good reason, and I feel like we justified it to ourselves at least. I don't know if anyone out there agrees, but we had a fun time doing it, and we got those submitted. We got some things that we were very early on, so we love to do that. One of the jobs that we booked from an audition that we did live on the stream last week got that delivered last night, and so that's very good. We love to see that. If there's anything that you would like to see on the channel, YouTube is a great place to leave a comment. I see the comments. I will respond to the comments. YouTube is also where these videos will live, in theory, forever. On Twitch, they expire after a week. You can rewatch the VOD. I think that's video on demand or video of the day. It's something. The VODs are where you can watch back if you are watching on Twitch. But YouTube is where they will live. They will live on in perpetuity until I get sued and I have to take them down. So watch while the watching's good. Yeah. Even on those old things, like I will get a notification within YouTube if someone leaves a comment on an older video. And yeah, I'll respond unless this thing blows up and I start getting thousands of comments, but I don't foresee that happening. I do believe later this evening, we are going to do our 1 hour of finished audio stream. Unless something happens between now and, say, 6 p.m. Eastern. So if something happens in the next 3 hours, we'll see. But everything is feeling good. My voice is feeling good. Once the traffic dies down, maybe that'll be what determines when we shut it down. Once the traffic dies down, we'll come back out here. We'll be nice and hydrated, and we'll hit record. And we will live stream the entire recording of that. But then later, I will take all that stuff and I'll edit it separately off stream and package it into a nice video with a nice professional intro and outro so that folks on YouTube will get the benefit of like, hey, here it is. I can always point to it. This is what it looks like to create a finished hour of audio, to include recording, editing, and proofing. And even we'll go ahead and do the upload into ACX because I've got all that stuff. So we can do the upload into ACX process as well. So that'll likely be a full-on, maybe a 3-hour video. So we'll try to get that rolling here soon enough. But I hope that you enjoyed the stream today. Thank you all for stopping by. So sorry, Sound of the Sounds, that I missed your chat live, but I got it in time to realize my boneheaded mistake and fix it for future chatters. So thanks for stopping by. I hope that y'all come by again soon. And we'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern if I don't see you this evening. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.